Thank you for joining us, ARW viewers, for the second of 3 stages in Germany at the Kreuzingsring. My name's Stairs. As always, I'm joined in the commentary box by Madbird. Madbird, how's it to be you?
I'm doing pretty good, Stairs. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Looking very much forward to this second stage after the first round and on the bitumen of Germany.
Indeed, the bitumen, concrete and asphalt of the Kreuzingsring. So here we have the classification from the first stage. Ziras taking it out, as you would expect, with a surprising debut from Dsemaj.
Dsemaj was the surprise package last time out, it has to be said. Only 4.9 seconds off Ziras, and he's looking like a promising prospect for the future.
He is. Madbird bringing home a handy third place in the first stage. Nether a couple of seconds back, and Mono a couple of seconds back on him, well outside of his usual pace.
No, yeah, he would have been disappointed with that. Bang is the best of the rest there in 6th place, and Stairs, Goof, Pablo, and Securitron not quite troubling the scorers as much as they would probably have liked to.
Securitron actually going off on the first stage, not setting any time whatsoever. The young Scot having to start raw, as it were. But of course, we have to go down to, as we always do, our rally expert Robert and get his expert opinions on who he thinks is going to do well here on the asphalt of Germany. Robert, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. I've been staying in the box.
Fantastic. So it's dried up a little bit from this morning, Robert. The rain's, it's still a little bit wet, but the rain stopped. How are your undies doing?
Oh yeah, dries and nasty, my friend. I'm excited for today.
Excellent, excellent. How do you think? Do you think the times are going to be changed up at all? Do you think anyone's going to climb up the ladder?
Yep, I reckon Securitron's going to win.
Well, fantastic. That is an incredible call for our first time runner. What makes you say that?
Oh, I've got a good feeling about the fella. Had a chat to him this afternoon, and he had some interesting things to say. I believed him.
Fantastic. So Robert there with the surprise call of the day. Securitron is going to win. You've heard it here first. Securitron with a little bit of pace down in the WRC2 cars, which is why he's been promoted up into...
That's it. That's exactly the reason.
That's it. That is the reason indeed. As
we didn't just stumble across him in an online chat show. But anyway, here we are.
And Securitron starting us off here in his Impreza.
Yep, we're certainly looking at him. Thanks for taking over while I was away from the camera there, from the microphone. And Securitron, with the very first corner of his stage, looking pretty good.
He is. He's going through these tight little hay bale chicanes, which you'll recall from Waldabstieg, of course.
I don't recall much.
Oh, okay, never mind.
He's just clipped one of those hay bales, as you mentioned there. So not good. A little bit of early damage, but I'm sure he'll be all right moving forward into this race.
Should indeed. The start of the Kreuzingsring stage is actually the start of the Waldabstieg stage, but in reverse.
Ah, the more you know.
Yes, indeed, the more you know. So all these runners who have a little bit of experience with Waldabstieg from the last stage will have a slight leg up, but you won't expect it to count for too much over the course of the stage, Stairs.
That's right. Seeing a bit of unburned fuel, I think that might be, as he's changing down the gears as he goes into the distance from his exhaust. Looks bloody good, as he nearly takes out our curb cam on the inside there.
He does 58.8 through the first sector, nothing to compare it to, obviously.
No, we don't really know how that's... Oh, goodness, up on 2 wheels, and obviously that means you're not doing much turning because you've only got 2 wheels, and he's gone straight into one of those concrete things on the outside of the track there. So not good, as he just glances one going into that corner.
Not good at all. It's as I said earlier, it stopped raining, but there's still plenty of water on the asphalt, affecting your braking as he takes a slightly terrifying line into that tight right-hander, running on down this straight curvy section. Those are a contradiction of terms.
Rob's prediction not looking terrific early on. Let's hope he hasn't put much money on it.
Absolutely, although knowing Rob, he is...
I think that could only have been an incorrect pace note, that one. He was entering that corner like a right 4, and it was a right 1.
It was not what you need. You don't need a right 1 when it's an actual hairpin around a hay bale, but He's managing to keep it on the stage through this section. As I say that, he's managed to recover back to the stage. Never mind, we're all good as he continues on.
That was a hairy moment. It was a really hairy moment. And that was another hairy moment. That was an enormous amount of speed that he was carrying into that very square left-hander as we look towards the young Colombian Pablo. So he was the first, he was a debutant last time out as we look from one debutant to the next.
Yes, so plenty of new runners in the live stages, which is always nice to see.
Oh, what a jump!
Securitron the first to go over the ARW jump and landing with a distance of 63 meters. Never mind.
It's gone straight into a tree there. So I mean, the 63 meters, I'm sure he'll be proud of, but it's not something that the clock is going to care about because he's ploughed into a tree after that. So not ideal.
He has. That is a tricky corner. So he's done well not to fly completely off the stage, but he's still obviously lost some time. Oh, I bet that the flame from that hot air balloon is probably nice and toasty warm for those spectators around it.
Look at that onboard there. He's got the heat on, so let's hope that he's got the heat on for the remainder of this stage. And it's not a lot of this stage to go. There it is, 3 minutes 27. So that's the time to beat. That is the first benchmark for the fleeting moment in time there. Securitron is at the top of the ladder. And Pablo hasn't betted his first sector, but if he keeps it clean, there's a good chance that he'll overhaul that time.
There is. He's managed to go through that corner without incident, which is more than you can say for Securitron. But he was going markedly slower through the first sector split, and indeed through that corner as well.
Yeah, maybe taking it easy. It is very wet out there. And you know what they say about wet asphalt? It's tricky to drive on.
Managed to negotiate his way slowly around that concrete block on the inside there.
That is an adjective which is accurate. But he's got it nice and sideways through there, just sort of drifting from one side of the track to the other, finding the perfect line as he goes onto the bricked section there, and not having as much trouble as Securitron, it has to be said, through there, but still a little bit awkward, it has to be said.
And still, despite that, still 3.7 seconds down on Securitron's time, so...
He has caught, though, hasn't he?
He has...
but he's not going to catch after that. He's just spun the damn thing around into the tree. Oh, deary me.
That's neutral, there's reverse, there's neutral, there's first, and he is
back. You want to hope that he's facing the right direction there. I'm sure his navigator will give him the way. There he is, the German flag there flying at half mast for our old mate Hans Grubenschreider, who died last night from a mysterious food poisoning incident. But we won't dwell on that because I'm sure most of you don't know who that is.
Yes, and we've got Goofball there, the Australian starting off. Going through the tight,
Indeed.
He looks like he's spat out.
We've got a note from our producers that I can't, in all good conscience, repeat because it's not exactly safe for children's consumption. Yes.
It's not kosher, let's say.
It's not kosher, no.
We've got Public coming up to the ARW jump, and indeed Sector 3. He is now 18 seconds down.
Wait for the jump. Not quite as impressive, I don't think. What was the distance?
Looks like it was 50 meters on that one, so...
Yeah. Oh, goodness, and straight into and that's a 15-second time penalty. He's just gone drifting completely off the road there, and it has to be said, they've got to have their wits about them when they come off that jump, because it is a very treacherous turn after that, isn't it, Madbird?
It absolutely is. It is a very slight right-hander, but if you're not already turning as you come over the crest, then you're in some strife, as we've got Goofball coming up to the first sector split.
And he's not going to slot in ahead of Pubs, is he?
No, 7.7 seconds down on Securitron, which is an additional 3 seconds on Pablo. So not going well for the Australian, but as it must be said that Securitron at this stage managing to hold on to his brief stint at the top of the podium.
Yes, that's right. Well, 38.5 seconds is quite a margin, and that penalty really costing Pablo there. Not ideal. Goofball's already lost a headlight, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he did that. That could have even possibly been from Waldabstieg, depending on whether it was something that they weren't able to get repaired between the stages. Coming on down to this tight little hairpin around the hay bale that Securitron and Pablo seem to struggle with a little bit. Gets a nice air there.
Look at that.
Is he going to get it slowed down?
No, he's not.
No is the answer to that question.
It looks like in their recce's, they've all managed to forget about that corner, with the navigators not really providing their drivers with the correct information, because none of them seem to be expecting such a tight corner there.
No, but Pablo, Goofball has caught up on Pablo, only a second down at this stage, and of course, that would have been before Pablo managed to spin himself off the stage, so Goofball at this stage looking good to slot into second, although...
Oh, goodness gracious.
He's done similar to Securitron, but managed to keep it fairly clean. I believe in Formula 1 that would be a track cut.
And he's Scandinavian flicking it through there. He's just behind the graphic of Stairs beginning his run there, but he's managed to get it going, and that was a nice corner through there.
It's quite nicely done as he comes up to the third sector split. I can't count. Coming on down towards the ARW jump.
That's it. Goofball's car about to take that jump, and we'll wait to see how he manages the next corner, which has been a bit of a tricky section. And no, something
Not well.
Pablo has done, and it's almost like he wasn't expecting. You have to get the turning done before you come over that crest, and if you don't, you're going to go straight off the circuit. Oh, sorry, off the road, and that's what Goofball did. And Goofball's car looking not a lot better than the wife from the honeymooners, so that's not ideal as they go through the nice hot air balloons, it has to be said.
Yes, the area known for its hot air balloons being a military base. As we've got Stairs coming up to the first sector split. Remains to be seen how he does. He slots into second.
Very close, that one. That's a tight split.
It is. Stairs only 3/4 of a second down on Securitron, so going well in the second stage at his home event.
That Barracuda livery on that car looking very clean. He hasn't brushed it so far against the side of any trees, and I say that so far with an element of caution.
Yes, you don't want to. You definitely don't want to give this man the commentator's curse. He is the crowd favourite, being the local man. But his first stage was relatively cautious, let's say, on his first stage.
Having said that, he did have a crash in his first stage, so...
Yeah, let's not say cautious, but it must be said he's taken that hairpin much better.
He's got round it.
He has,
yeah.
Which is more than can be said for the three runners.
I think he may have used the handbrake there, and indeed that's paid off, because he's 7 seconds ahead of Securitron. So for the first time, Stairs has got a smile on his face, because he's seeing that in the second sector, of course before the real heavy hitters come out, that he is... going to be going towards the top of the leaderboards if he keeps it clean.
Absolutely, and clean is fast, and fast is clean, and smooth is clean, and clean is smooth. So lots of words.
Sponsored by Talcum Powder.
Indeed.
Johnson & Johnson.
Thank you, Johnson & Johnson, for your wonderful support throughout the years. Stairs coming on towards the third sector split, and of course the jump. Gonna have to see how he does. You'd expect he'd be above Securitron. After that second sector split, and indeed he is.
He's lost a bit out. He's lost a bit though. He was about 7 seconds clear before, now just only 6.6. So I mean, it's small margins. As Bang has started his stage, and
Stairs the first one to take that right-hander over the crest correctly. It must be said.
Yes, did we get a distance on the jump, or has he not?
It looks like it was a 60-meter jump for Stairs. So sacrificing speed slightly over the jump to ensure...
Well, 60 was more than the others, wasn't it? They were in the 50s.
Securitron was 63.
Okay, but then it proceeded to go off the circuit.
Indeed. So
I keep saying circuit. I beg your pardon, rally viewers. I am from the world of racing on racetracks, not so much rally tracks. But nonetheless, that Stairs... pulling out another 2 seconds in that final sector off on Securitron to top the leaderboard as we go off, rejoin Bang at quite a hairy moment.
Yes, that's Salika jumping all over the place, sliding into third behind Stairs in the first sector.
Got some pace on him there.
He does. 2 seconds down on Securitron, so got it all to make up. And of course, Securitron losing it all in this corner, so Bang rather likely to make that place. But
aerials on the top of that Salika wobbling around quite nicely.
Yes, they look like antennas or something. Like they're,
that's right.
Like they're they're sensing the air. They're seeing it. Aha, it's wet. Let's give the tyres more grip.
Well, I'm sure that Bang would be wishing for that because, as we mentioned before, a hairy moment for a hairy person. He would have really liked a bit more grip there.
He absolutely would have. Salika, not the most powerful car out there, but certainly one of the more nimble. As he's coming down towards the hairpin, get to see if he does this well.
Whoa!
He doesn't.
Jeez, the door's open, and again he's got a bit of bumper dragging off the side, so almost looked like he was trying to scando it in there, but way too much speed. It has to be said, carried a lot more speed than he really ideally should have. and the hay bale actually helped him turn there.
It did.
In a way.
It did. It brought him.
Oh, there goes the bumper's gone. There it goes. There's a souvenir for the rally viewer. We don't actually see many spectators on the side of the road here.
No, they've all gone off for a smoko while Banks come out by the looks of it. But oh my goodness.
Oh, that is messy.
He's pulled that up quite well. I was worried he was going to hit a rock or something there, but the one solitary viewer that is remaining is going to chuff off home with a nice Celica rear bumper as Bangs coming down towards the jump.
You can see the top of that hot air balloon signifies the beginning of the jump as we approach the jump. What was the distance there? Have you got that there, Madbird?
55 metres on Bangs' jump, so the lowest so far. Probably owing to his slightly hairy run through the previous couple of corners, but he also managed to... Oh, that does not look good without the rear bumper. He's also managed to make it over that right-hander without incident, so looking good for a second place provisional, obviously.
Oh, well, that's not too bad. He nothing to sneeze at, and of course he had a decent run, well ahead of the guys he's behind here in this first stage, and of course that carries through, does it not?
It does. It does indeed. It carries through. Bang up into second, 5.9 seconds down on Stairs. So Stairs with a good run so far. Mono here.
Well, it's not going to get worse. He's finished his time.
He has, yeah. So, but I mean, other people still have yet to run. So.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes.
And completely crush his spirits. But anyway, Mono there. As we detailed in the last round, not particularly accustomed to water, but doing quite well it has to be said, given the circumstances. As I say that, he's smashed his left rear into a concrete, into a big rock there. That's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. In the first sector, it looked like he was about 500ths up on Stairs. So, considering the pace this man does have, Stairs' time holding its own at the moment. But Mono coming down to this hairpin that everyone seems to be struggling with, except for Stairs so far. We'll get to see if he manages to take this well or not. Looks like, well,
he's got through there not too badly. It's an awkward corner. It's very difficult to look quick through there. And he is actually marginally up on Stairs there, so it looks like he's done a better job throughout that sector.
He has. Still under a second up on Stairs though, so nothing to sneeze at. But he's managing to keep it on the stage throughout this section, unlike a lot of people cutting across the grass. Coming up to this couple of right-hand corners that require some deft use of the handbrake, which he has not applied there, or there indeed. So he has just gone around those quite flat actually, and done quite well.
Yeah, there's a bit of a varying difference, or there's a varying strategies, I should say, between some of the drivers, whether they use the handbrakes. We know Dsemaj last week is quite a handy user of the handbrake. Well, he didn't quite get a lot of air there, did he?
No, only 60 metres for Mono, so...
Only 60?
Didn't
look like that much.
Still behind Securitron, so Securitron...
Fighting the wheel there.
He's soaring away at it, managing to keep it on the stage, which is...
Yeah, I mean, the Olympic long jump record is only 8.9 metres, so, you know, you're certainly much further than that, so, you know... Eat your words if you've got anything to say about that Olympic long jumpers.
Indeed.
That record was set in the 1960s.
Can we get a producer to look up what the record is for the longest ski jump?
That is a good thing. As Mono crosses the line, a good 3.3 seconds up on Stairs. So Stairs is a lot closer to Mono than he was. Mono is a good benchmark there for Stairs. A lot closer than he was in the first stage.
Absolutely. Nether here, one of our front runners usually. A second down on Mono's time, so...
On Stairs' time?
No, on Mono's time. Nether, Stairs being 0.8 of a second down on Mono's time.
And Mono... beg your pardon. Well, we're looking at Nether, who's getting through this stage with precision.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. He is a precise driver, the Dutchman. Manages to keep it on the stage usually. As I say, they had a slightly hairy moment going through that sector, but those couple of corners, but managed to keep it on the track. And I think we've got the producer coming back with an answer. 253 meters.
Yes, by Stefan Kraft, of course.
The Austrian.
How could I keep forgetting?
Of course,
he was.
Stefan, yes.
What a fantastic ski jumper he was.
It must be said. Currently, a man on 2 pieces of wood, blowing all all of these cars out of the water in terms of the distance that they're jumping.
Does have a bit of a longer run up, it has to be said.
Slightly.
But doesn't have the power of an internal combustion engine.
Doesn't indeed. Nether still behind Stairs going through the second sector. So Stairs' time holding its
And not a lot of grip out there on the grass. Nether, no. But obviously we know that he's from the land of grass, the country that has the city of Holland. Sorry, the city of Amsterdam is what I meant to say.
the city of the country of Holland.
Exactly, which holds the Dutch. But nevertheless, we're approaching that jump, and we're waiting with eager anticipation to see if he can beat Stefan Kraft's ski jumping record, and he hasn't done that at all. 52 metres is well shy.
It is almost 100 metres.
Oh,
actually, sorry, almost
Look
200
at all the
metres.
water coming out of the back of that car.
That is throwing up quite a cloud. I wonder if the water is picked up, or if the escort is just got a particular ground effect on it that kicks up more water. I don't know. It's not gonna. Madbird's not gonna appreciate it if there's still fog hanging in the air when he comes around on his stage.
Ski jumping was particularly in the public eye after Eddie the Eagle in the 1988 Olympics, which was also the Olympics which saw the rise to prominence of the Jamaican bobsled team.
Of course, yeah. And can you remind me who always become Madbird at a slightly scary moment, getting a little bit sideways going through that left-hand corner. Stairs, can you tell me who won the bobsledding in 1974?
Oh, of course. I will regale you with that in just a moment.
Fantastic. Madbird down in 6th position, 3.3 seconds down on Mono, so well off of the Norwegian's normal pace in his snap-on escort, but hoping to improve it over the course of the stage, with a lot of people having errors ahead of him.
When you were asking that, did you mean the 4 or the 2-man bobsled event in 1974 Winter
Of
Olympics?
course, there is only one bobsled, in my opinion, and that is the 4-man.
Oh, of course. Now, when you said the 1974 Winter Olympics, did you mean the 1972 or 1976 Winter Olympics?
I do apologise. I always round them up in my head. It was 1974.
Oh, of course, yes, which of course was held in... Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you knew. Anyway, Madbird, 1 minute 50 into his stage, we'll see whether his sector split in between Nether and Bang. Interesting.
Indeed, so he's climbed a couple of positions from 6th to 4th. So if he keeps up that trend, he may finish at the pointy end, but not a good run by the Norwegian. A little bit scrappy and just not up there on pace like the rest of the runners as he takes an excursion across the grass as the others did.
Sorry, remind me, you said 72 or 76?
I said 74, I believe, but I meant 76.
Ah, yes, Innsbruck.
Of course. Yes. I remember it well.
I was there with my children.
Where are you now?
Yeah, one of my daughters.
How old are you?
Not very old. One of my daughters was there as a hockey player for the South African team. As we reach the jump there for Madbird there, 2 minutes 41. What was the distance?
58 metres, so not very long there for the escort. The escorts seem to be slightly down on power compared to the Imprestors so far, but still managing to get his way through this stage in one piece mostly, although he nearly clipped those rocks on the outside.
And of course, it was the East Germans who won the gold medal there in 1976. Meinhard Naumer, Jochen Babok, Bernhard Germerhausen, and Bernhard Lehmann. And they're actually in the audience watching today.
Fantastic!
I believe we actually got Meinhard Naumer in the media area. As we're waiting for the gap there, Dsemaj, where is he going to pop in? That is going to be very interesting. A 56.2. Meinhard, what do you think about that? Das is very good. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Meinhard. As we've got Dsemaj continuing on with his stage. He's doing quite well, for a Finn. Managing to make his way through the corners without, although, as I say that, nearly spears himself into a rock. Soaring away at the wheel, as we witnessed in the first stage at Waldabstieg.
That's right. He's a lumberjack. Oh, goodness gracious me. He's got the rear right.
Got away with that one.
He did. The bank on the exit of that corner actually helped him recover the car, but he really does approach these rally stages with a certain amount of aggression.
That is
done that beautifully.
He has done that fantastic. That's possibly the best we've seen someone go through it. And the time shows 2.5 seconds up on Mono.
Oh, yes. Well, Mono was, goodness gracious, look at the speed he's able to carry sideways through that corner. It's amazing. A lot of that turning of the wheel looks superfluous, like it's not necessary. But when you look at the onboard, and you look at just how much that front wheel is going left and right, but the clock doesn't lie. He's doing pretty well. It doesn't.
It doesn't indeed. The clock cannot lie because it isn't a sentient or soft being.
Unlike Bernhard Neimer.
Quite. As we got James,
Another event where the clock doesn't lie. Bobsleigh is very well known for being closely fought.
Incredibly close. We got Ziras starting his stage. The last of our runners. Dsemaj goes 2.5 seconds faster than Mono again and lands a 64-meter jump. So currently leading the longest jump so far. Of course, we haven't had our WRC2 runners come through yet, but for our WRC runners, Dsemaj currently leading the board.
And of course, it is very well known that the West Germans came third for the bronze medal in the same event that the East Germans finished first in. So that was a bone of contention, of course, for Wolfgang Zimmerer, Peter Unschneider, and Bobo Bittner. And of course, who could forget the Manfred Schumann, the big man.
Absolutely. Oh yes, old Manfred. Yes, and
always with bare feet.
Absolutely. My favourite. I was reading the other day. Hammers, sickles, and bobsleds about the East Germans.
I haven't read that.
No, it's fantastic. I recommend it. About their training regimen. You know, where they would walk naked across the ice in Siberia. To prepare themselves.
The diet was mysteriously not really mentioned in that.
No, it wasn't. Very mysteriously. We don't really want to mention that though. Mysteriously enough, as we got Ziras on his sector, possibly going to go fastest, although he's having a bit of a. No, he's done that quite well.
Hasn't managed to attract many sponsors from the first stage. You would have thought, given his commanding victory in the first stage, that he might have got the odd sponsor to slap a sticker on his car, but it doesn't seem to have been the case.
I mean, this was just this morning, Stairs, so you can't really expect them to rush out there. Yes.
Was it? Oh, it's become Het's black. I don't know what I just said.
Ziras 5.5 seconds up on Dsemaj in the second sector, so showing his usual domination there of the event, as we come to expect from the Ethiopian. Who knew Ethiopia had bred such rally pedigree?
They're a country with a particularly poor Winter Olympic performance, but nonetheless. Ziras, 2 minutes 15 as he passes the Potenza sign. We're approaching that part of the stage we all love, the jump. Madbird, are you ready for this jump?
I'm ready as he approaches the ARW jump and he flies over at 57 meters. So not quite that long, really, but he's I'm sure he's made up for that.
More important than that, he's managed to safely negotiate the corner after that big jump, so that was very important for his stage, and whether he'll be able to knock Dsemaj off his time. Oh, look, a butterfly. That was beautiful.
Fantastic. As he's approaching the end of the stage here, the last couple of corners, sort of deceptively tricky because they're very fast, especially in these wet conditions. You got to keep your foot in it. As he's out on the grass, but managing to hold it in one.
Full commitment from Ziras. Sorry to cut across you for that last word there, and 3:05.9. 5-3, and that is a significant. That is significant.
That is indeed. So Ziras, confirmation there of Ziras's win in the second stage. Dsemaj ending up 7.5 seconds or thereabouts down on Ziras. So a dominant performance as usual from the Ethiopian. Mono 10 seconds back, and
Stairs in fourth. That's his best result in the stage, I believe.
That is, yes. Stairs only a few seconds back on Mono in fourth. Madbird and Nether both within a second of each other, and indeed within a second and a half of Stairs. So quite close there in the middle. Then a little bit of a gap back to Bang in seventh. Securitron on his first run in eighth, and Goofball and Pablo the also rans back in 9th and 10th. That's all for us here from the Kreuzingsring. Stay tuned for stage 3 later on today in the Kreuzingsring reverse, where we're going to run the exact same stage but backwards. I've been Madbird.
And I have been Stairs. Thank you very much for watching.